And we live. Welcome to another episode of Sleazy Sports. And today I'm joined by the homie Threshold
What's up,
and my
guys?
arch nemesis Sihle.
How?
How's it,
Since
Jess?
when? I've always thought we're good. Sorry, guys. I'm just
Nah, we're not
left
good,
soccer.
bruh.
So
I'm
so I'm
hating
left
on you.
soccer. So I'm on my phone, but I should be back online probably in the next 10 minutes at most. Some
I don't.
Trishul is doing somersaults. I see, celebrating the the red card being
Yeah,
overturned.
yeah. But
It's
let's
the
be
best
honest.
news I've had in weeks. The
I know,
best
but let's
news
be
I've had
honest.
in weeks.
Yeah, I think that wasn't a raid on my end.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, surely
I don't think
wasn't.
it was a
Definitely
raid.
not.
So for me, and yeah, it's cool. It's cool, man. It is what it is. You see, with me, man. Let's start off actually with Man United. I think we'll speak up about the smaller clubs that don't trend on Twitter a bit later. But yeah, man, Trisho, like what? How are you feeling? What from your
Yeah,
perspective?
best
Like
thing I can do is
what's
just
going
ignore
on
you.
with our team, bruh?
Bro, so I'm at that point now where it's not even shocking. It's like disappointing, but at this point, I mean, we conceded in the first 3 minutes, bro. And from a center back winning the ball, I look, I people know I don't like Rashford, and I've seen a lot of people blaming him for that goal, but that's not Rashford's fault. I will call out Dallo for that goal because he just left Brennan Johnson completely unmarked. But sure, look, gents, I'm not surprised. And I've said this before. I think it was after the Liverpool game. Can't blame the Glazers now. Can't blame
Yeah,
Edward now. Can't blame all these other guys now because it's new people. It's the manager. It's the manager has spent 600 million and he got
sure.
his signing. He got the players that he wanted. And you know what? I'm not gonna sit here and go into full panic mode because I'm calm. I think he's done. I think he's
100.
done. And you know what? I try to be a good fan. X, you know this. I try to be a good fan
Yeah,
and build my manager, but I, I think I want him gone
yeah,
because I'll tell you why, right? We talked about Maresca before, and that is it a big enough? I mean, is it too big of a jump from Championship to Premier League? And within 6 games, he has Chelsea playing with an identity.
hmm
And you must know, like, yes, Chelsea spent money, but this guy had one transfer window, only one. And his best player in Cole Palmer wasn't his signing. It's not like he threw out the toys in the pram to go for Cole Palmer because he believed that was the guy. He worked with what he had. Yes, obviously they made signings, but he's turned Nicholas Jackson into a good striker, which is unbelievable. Cole Palmer is brilliant. Like and what it's been 6 7 games, and they have an identity, they have a style of football. You can watch Chelsea and know what they're trying to do. At United, it's like it's pointless football. There's no plan. Like you can't even say there's no plan B. There isn't a plan A. There's no structure in our team. It's we also another thing. Why is it that we only started pressing after Bruno got sent off?
Ish,
Just
man.
just on the pressing. And sorry, Trishul, can I quickly
Yeah,
just
go
give
go
my
go
two
for it.
cents?
Go for it, Sishle. Go for it.
Go for it,
So
bro.
I've got a view. Okay, so you've spoken on identity and you've spoken on pressing. The one thing that amazes me about Man United to this day, 3 seasons deep for Eric, is the mere fact that what triggers your press. It's
Mm,
weird. With Slot, you can almost tell. Oh, they're doing what they used to do with Klopp, in that you can tell what triggers their press. Okay,
mhm,
with Chelsea also, there's an identity now on the press is triggered by 1, 2, and 3, and will set traps.
mhm,
Arsenal also do that brilliantly, where they set traps for other teams. That takes playing together, and this is playing together, training like over and over and over and over again. It's repetition, because the more you repeat the triggering the press, the more it becomes second nature for you. Man United doesn't have that, and it's quite scary that we 3 seasons deep. That's like what, 90 odd games, and we are saying Ole had an identity better than Erik. And when Erik came in, he came with a CV of note where everyone said this guy is the second coming. And then what also baffles me is on on your Europe excursion, you concede a stupid goal where you have one player literally tearing through your whole strike mid defense like a hot knife through butter, and scoring. And the first thing the manager says in the post-match interview, he says that should never ever happen again. Lo and behold, 3 minutes in on Sunday, it
Yeah.
happens. The exact same thing. And you ask yourself, but like guys, weren't you taking notes and saying, well, yeah, we shouldn't concede this goal. Someone has to go right ahead and take a yellow for the team, and that's that. But no one wants to take responsibility for that yellow, which is baffling. Because on your midweek, you considered a goal exactly like that. So a team that has watched videos on your recent game, they know how to hit you.
100%. And as well, it seems as if we don't learn from our mistakes, Sihle. I
Nope.
mean, you've just alluded to us conceding a similar goal. It's like it's pretty much the exact same goal, copy and paste. It's just that this time around, Ericsson got pressed, and of course, we conceded from there. But yeah, you are right. And the scoreline should have been worse, bro. You know, Onana was saving us, bro.
If
Like,
Son played instead of
yeah,
Werner, it was finished.
yeah,
If Son was
yeah,
playing, it would
yeah.
have been done. Seven,
It,
seven,
it,
easy, easy,
it just
easy.
shows you how dead Werner is, bro. Like, really, the chances Werner got, like, even Solanke as well. These guys were
Yeah, I'll
missing
get to
chances.
Spurs and their lack of firepower power up
Yeah,
front.
yeah, yeah.
On Onana, I'm not gonna lie. I think I did offer an apology two games back in that
Yeah.
he's the shining light right now in that United squad. Um, as long as he doesn't try this fancy playing from the back bull crap and whatnot, if he just does the basics of I'm a keeper, I make saves, and
Yeah.
not this thing of like trying to play a number 10 in the back, because his passes that he wants to make are intricate passes that your number 10s play. Let him do the basics, and he does them brilliantly.
So
If he's
Sishle,
not,
what you're saying is he should just be a goalkeeper that saves the ball,
and that's that.
which is
That
exactly
then
what we had and let go for free.
that
And he's now
that
at
that
the yeah.
as a keeper, he plays on the amount of saves that he makes, and it
Mm.
speaks on his confidence. And the next game, he goes one on one with a striker, with an opponent. He looks the opponent right in the eye and say, "Well, try and beat me," because he's
Mm.
confident, and you can see that he's
No,
confident.
look,
Timo
he
Werner is not
was
the
good.
best finisher,
He was
but
good against Spurs, but then against 20, I think it's 20 or 20, whatever.
Yeah.
It was his fault because you should not be going so far away from your near post. And
No,
it's that
no.
kind of
I
inconsistency that he gets
nah.
criticized for,
But
and rightly
the game
so.
against the midweek game, that's just I don't know. I can count maybe four mistakes, five mistakes that you guys make. Actually, it's more than that, because
Mhm.
the player is coming from deep. He passes two players in his own half, right in the center of the park. He's got two more players that he beats. He loses the ball to what's his name, to Ericsson. Ericsson,
Mhm.
not being aware, and I think his other players are not shouting at him that he's got one player on either side. He then turns into the player on the one side, because he can see the one player on the right. He doesn't see the player on the left. He should get a shout that there's a man on the left. He doesn't, which I think also we need to speak on the individualistic nature of the Man United players. I'll get into
Mhm.
that in a bit.
Yeah.
And the FC 20 get the ball back, and lo and behold, Onana is his positioning is all wrong, and you guys
Yeah.
concede.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
It
You
was
see,
just a
there.
catalog of errors. It wasn't like, and the thing that I'll say is it wasn't a shock horror goal, because they were playing. Twente were playing. It wasn't like a smash and
Yeah.
grab. And
You
even
could
with the
foresee the
Spurs
goal.
game,
You could foresee that the goal was coming.
mm,
Yep. And they
well,
created the
it
most
didn't
chances.
surprise me. The manner of it, sure, but if you told me, oh, FC 20 scored and I wasn't watching the game, I would have believed you because we have this terrible game management style at United where you need a win, get the win for confidence, if anything, but zero game management. And then at Spurs, it's like you're 3 minutes into a big game at home to a top six team, and you let a centre back, like, look, we can all put our hands up and say that Van der Ven is quality, but you let a centre back run with the ball from his own half into our box and then play a pass to an unopened, I'm sorry, an unmarked attacker. And you're supposed to be a top six team that's drilled tactically. You're supposed to have these intense training sessions where
I'm glad.
you're.
I'm glad you used that word tactically.
Mhm,
You take a tactical foul. They are there for purely that. Because
Yeah.
exactly,
I can
exactly.
count how many players he passes before he actually gets to the he gets to the line before he
Mhm,
crosses the ball back. So so you've got Rashford, you've got Gnacho, who I don't know, between the two of them, someone has to go right ahead and make a decision. And then he's got three players that he actually goes through where he
mhm,
pushes the ball and he says, "Well, let's go," because he knows he's quick. That boy, I
mhm,
think I saw a stat somewhere. He's been thingy clocked at doing the 100 sprint, being one of the fastest in the Premier League. He did it in
mhm,
like 10 seconds or something ridiculously crazy, but hella quick. So he just pushes the ball and then he goes. And no
mhm.
one has the audacity to go right ahead and say, I'm taking the responsibility to go right ahead and tactically foul this player. Of which, how
Even the
many
audacity to do it,
three
Sishlets. Just take one for the team. Bump him. Shoulder bump
Yeah.
him. Kick his
I
ankles.
know.
Do something when he's still in the third, not when
Yeah.
he's
In
approaching
the
our
box.
box or in our box.
Yeah.
Just take him out. And the thing is, right? Like, okay, fair enough that goal goes in, but we didn't switch on after the goal in any case. It's not like the goal, gave us that little push, that little bump to actually try something. It was just more of the same where Spurs kept on attacking. And the thing is, Brennan Johnson hit the post. He hits
Yep.
the post. It's if he scores, it's 2-0. What are we doing? Then Bruno gets sent off. And then second half, I don't know what Ten Hag said to the boys, but then they start pressing. And then we play well. And then even though we're playing well, Spurs still score a third, which
Yeah.
which says what, like, what, honestly, at this point, I do blame the manager, and I like I said, I would want to change. Not sure what that was.
Oh, sorry,
Um,
that's the sentence. But the manner or the timing of the goal in the second half, you conceded in the first 2 minutes of the second half,
mhm,
which is
mhm,
Actually,
a
first
carbon
minute.
copy of you
Yeah.
conceding in the first 3 minutes of the first half.
mhm.
Like you're
Yep.
not switched on. Like why? How?
And literally they ran through like it was so easy, bruh. It was not even it didn't even take intricacy to break us down, bruh. But
None,
another thing
none.
is, guys, I mean, Trishul, you just spoke about tactics. Clearly, there is a disconnect. It's either Ten Hag has players that can't implement his style of play, um, or yeah, no, I just feel even from a technical standpoint, our technical ballers are the ones that are mistreated. They're the ones that get subbed off. The ones that can actually keep the ball, that are comfortable with the ball. Those are the guys that get sent,
You see,
that get
it's
subbed
on the
off.
point of
Yeah,
Ten Hag and there being a disconnect. Why
yeah,
is there a disconnect when it's his own players? When it's players he's coached before, that should speak louder than anything. If your
yeah.
own players from before are not listening to you, then that is very telling that you're failing as a coach. Look, yes, okay, he won the trophies, but, like, we're not a small team like Brentford and Swansea,
Yeah,
when they
Actually,
won that League Cup and it was like their biggest thing. We're 12th. United
dude.
are 12th in the Premier League and we're 11th in our Europa League group. Where's the standards? I spoke about this at the start of the season when I said United top four because of standards, purely because of standards. But standards went out the window when you lose 3-0 at home to Liverpool, and then you draw at Palace, you draw at home to 20, and then lose 3-0 again to Spurs. I saw a stat that in Ten Hag's 3 years here at United, he's conceded 3 goals 25 times.
Yes.
25. Sir Alex Ferguson conceded 3 goals 24 times in 27 years.
Listen to that, bro. And that's a
Now,
long period. Yeah.
yeah, and bro, you see, the thing is, right? Like we've got Porto tomorrow, Thursday, whenever it is. Then
Yeah.
Aston Villa away at this weekend. There's an international break next week. Right? If Ineos want to make a change, do it now when there's an international break. Because
And
to get
yeah.
a new manager and then the next day you're playing a game, that's not going to bode too well. Give yourself an internet because look, let's be honest with ourselves. We're just not going to beat Aston Villa. We're
We're
just not
not.
going to beat Aston Villa. We're
Because
just not.
they could embarrass us, bro. Because remember last season how we beat them, the manner in which we beat them, they were
Mm,
meant to be the ones that beat us. They
mm,
outplayed us, but we just were more clinical. So it could be a thing where Una is like, gents, these guys, we better give them a 4-0 or a 5-0,
mm,
just to make a statement. And yeah, bro, it's bad, man. Like it's our team as a collective. That's the reason why I'm not coming for individual players this time around. I just think as a collective, man, we're not
mm.
solid, man. When you look at Chelsea and you watch how fluid they are, man, like they were creating chance after chance after, like Cole Palmer, I think two of his goals were disallowed. You know, this man scored 4 goals, bro, and two
Mm.
goals were disallowed. It just shows you they constantly are creating. Whereas with us, bro, I think it's only the what's this guy? Zexi opportunity, bro. Which for me as well, the way Mainu passed that ball was a grenade. It wasn't like how Sancho passed Palmer for his fourth goal, where
I
it's just
haven't been happy
one
with
touch.
Xerxes at all. I
Yeah,
think look, I, I'm not a fan. Oh, like backing into his center back and linking up the play, brilliant. But
yeah,
you're a nine. You're playing as a nine. Put the ball in the back of the net. And the thing is, he misses a lot of these cutback chances. Like yeah, Menu's one was a grenade, and it's
yeah.
a bit of a difficult one. But he misses a lot of these
Do,
chances.
do you know who else misses a lot of his chances?
My
All the
God,
late,
just he does.
the
He
goat.
does. He
Yeah, you
does.
see what I'm saying, dog? It seems like it's not just a lot of people are just
Look, I'll
missing their
even put my
chances.
hand up and say he's been disappointing this season. He's been very disappointing this season. And then imagine my shock where when
Mm,
he's played, he'll have like a bad game and then he ends up on the right wing again. So
mm.
look, everyone has been crap. Even Mainu hasn't played to maybe
Mhm.
we just hold him to too much of a high standard and maybe we
Yeah,
shouldn't because he's a child. But even his game hasn't been as consistent consistent 7 out of 10s as it was last season. Our best player has been Ahmad. Always. I said this
yeah,
that and he isn't starting for whatever reason where you need a technical baller to create chances who can dribble and
yeah.
cut in actually fashion something for your team and he's not getting a chance. It's very gung-ho with Garnacho and Rashford and
Yep.
I don't know, even look, I did see a lot of people going at Igate for whatever
Mhm.
reason. You're playing with 10 men against a high line as a CDM making your first start. No one is going to have a good game. Nobody is going to have a good game in a high line with pace like that. You're not going to have a good game. It's his first start. I'm not going to shit on him. But Bruno, Menu, Garnacho, Rashford, Xerxes, and look, even Martinez. I
Yeah.
want to point
Thank
out,
you.
even
Licha,
Martinez has been horrible for us this season.
Licha, Licha.
Very, very bad. I
I
have
used
to
to call
call
him
it out.
Big Six. I used to call him Big
Exactly.
Six. Now it's Little Six, man. Like I need to take
He has been
that
very
name back.
disappointing for us this season. And I hope it's not because of his injury still. I really hope it's not because of his injury, but he's been disappointing. Mazraoui has probably been our best and
Yeah.
most consistent player, and
Yep.
he's been like he's playing with the makeshift, Dallow's on the other side on as a makeshift left back, and Dallo has been disappointing too. But I think Mazraoui and Diallo are our two shining lights in a field full of shit. Let's be honest.
Yep.
And they both play on the right hand
Uh,
side, but then Diallo hasn't been playing.
but I've got a view on Dallo and his game. Sorry, Dallo, and his game this
Yeah.
past weekend. I don't think he had the best of games.
Nope.
Yeah, no, I
I
think we
rate
all.
that boy. I think out of the Man United squad, I consider it maybe like 4 players that um are are players that come right. Onana being one where he's coming right. Maino I don't think a child should carry a team as United heavy as it is. It's a burden and a
Hey,
half. And
Yamal is
then
carrying Barca and he's only 17.
well,
He's not
they don't
even
have a
ready.
Bomb,
choice. Barca don't have a choice because they don't have money. And
Bomb is
and
carrying
Ricardo.
Chelsea. Clear?
I
They're the
don't
same
think so.
age, same
Chelsea.
age group.
Chris,
Yeah.
Chris, we'll get to Chelsea. I think one thing you forget about Chelsea is that Chelsea right now have 3 different players who've scored hat trick, and we're like 6 games in. So
Mm.
when you say that there's a dependency, I
Mm.
don't know what you're talking about. Just because of one game, and if we're
Hey,
being honest, if you
Bro.
watch the games, Palmer hasn't had the best of starts. He didn't have an off season because he went on holiday thanks to Southgate wasting his time in the Euros. But yes, just remember that stat when you talk about Chelsea and you talk about
Mhm.
dependency.
hey,
And then
Fire.
no, it's facts. It's facts.
Ah,
Don't
it's
seriously.
And
content
Don't you
what
want
now,
to?
concerns me,
Homie
sorry,
has
what
chest.
concerns me
Danny
is
Bravo.
Yeah.
I think
And,
just entertain this thought for because I
yeah.
watched you guys this past weekend,
Uh,
and I
uh,
got to a point of like maybe I was being cynical. I don't know if you've realized that sometimes when your leader or your manager asks you to do something that doesn't make sense to you, you tend to be like, what is he talking
Yeah.
about? And then
mm,
you do your own thing. The minute you do your own thing, the whoever is watching is like, oh, this player is coming right. Meanwhile, you're going against what the manager is telling you to do. So it's that individualistic thing I was speaking on. Because the players right now are in a weird position. Your management team properly did a number on Ten Hag beginning of the season where it leaked that they were looking for a new manager. They then come
Mhm.
back and tried PR exercise of sugarcoating this and saying, well, they couldn't find anyone better than Ten Hag. That is supposed to feed into his ego that, you know what, he's the best that Man United can afford. But the real fans that know football are looking at it and they're saying, well, one, either whoever came through being interviewed looked at this mess and he demanded that, hey, listen, I want to control everything because he could see the problems within Man United. Okay. Now imagine this as a player. You off season because they're sitting with their friends and their family and they're drinking tequila, that's Rashford and whatnot. And they kind of realize that this man is living on borrowed time. So I'd rather honestly audition myself for Southgate. And X, I said this earlier on because I looked at your team. It feels like we've spoken about this time and time again. You know your Sunday 11, where everyone does their work during the week, and then come Sunday, the Sunday league, yo, okay, I want to play here, I want to play there, I want to play here, and that's that. And then we gel. If we gel, if we don't gel, we shout at each other. That's exactly how Ten Hag's team looks like. You ask yourself, what is it that they do during the week?
they play cards, bro. We play
Fair
cards.
question, Chitle.
So the one thing,
play
the one thing that I started doing about 2 seasons back is I subscribed to the Chelsea YouTube channel, and they would have like two videos. It's like 10 minutes videos during the week, showing the players training and whatnot, and then they will do like an interview if there's a game coming up, like the day before, maybe like Friday if you're playing over the weekend, or if it's during the week, day before the manager will speak. And I'm not gonna lie, what I'm seeing in that Chelsea training ground. I know we're not talking about Chelsea, talking about United. it's there's a camaraderie, there's like a togetherness. And the scary part, you would think that the amount of stars that they have, they should have like a couple of egos to say, no, fuck this, I don't put my 100% on the training field and whatnot. And I recently subscribed to the Man United videos. Dear God, it's just all about buy this, buy that, buy this, buy that.
Yeah.
You don't see what's going on within the team, how the players are training, who's injured, and whoever is injured, do interviews like, hey, how's it going? There's none of that. It's I don't know. You guys are turning into what Arsenal used to be a couple of seasons back, where you're more a business than a football club.
Mm. But as well with Arsenal, Sihle, and you could also argue that at the time they had to cover the debt, to service the Emirates Stadium.
So then choose your battles
yeah,
then. So then
yeah,
decide that this is the path that you're taking with a cheap
Yeah.
a cheap Pep from Timu that you've got now, and you are going to just be comfortable with hitting 12s because hitting position 12. Because right now I can tell you the top 6, and this is the usual suspects, top 6. Most of them are coming back, and there are a few teams that are like, you know what, I want to be in that top 6. Villa being one. I know that Villa, for some odd reason, they're not consistent, but once they start coming right, Villa is going to be a problem. But there are other teams that are like, you know what, we've been dormant for too long. Chelsea being one. Like Chelsea right now is a top, based on performance, purely on performance. It's a top 5. It's a top 4 team.
Top 4, bro. Top 4, dog. Like comfortably as well. And the reason why I say that as well, Sihle, in depth. You guys have depth for days in all areas of the field.
Yeah.
And as well, the gap between your players is not significant. It's not like day and night, bro.
Yeah.
And
if you look at your bench, because I don't know if you looked at your bench this past weekend.
Dude. You see what I'm saying?
So Sihle X threshold.
Yeah.
I've been sitting and stewing at this point for most of the show. United are playing shite football. It's directly from the manager into some of the players or personnel that we have in the park. There's no responsibility or accountability from anyone within that team or organization. If you look at Garnacho playing on the weekend, it looks like whenever he starts a game, he can't play against a player that has legs. So the only time he looks to shine is when someone is tired from playing 40 to 60 minutes once they bring him on as a super sub. Then the lighter looks good. I give it, he has ability and the technique is there, but we require consistency from our name players or supposed star players that's supposed to be within the United team. As for Bruno, and Trish will take this one with a grain of salt. I think Bruno's at a stage of burnout. That's why I made a comment in the group saying, Billy, he's
100%.
old. This man has played over 3 years of soccer with one sick day having the flu.
Yeah.
It's to be expected. We need to find another outlet or creative spark that can get the ball forward into the box. Bruno needs to be given some rest and there needs to be rotation within that team. The guys say this every week. It's like this guy, Ten Hag, sits and picks his flipping subs on Monday, and that's the list that he's going to
premeditated. Yeah,
Exactly.
he has a premeditated list.
It baffles me because you change your players that your personnel that you're going to bring onto that pitch, depending
Based
on
what's
what's
going
happening.
on.
Yes,
Yeah.
and this gives me shades of Moyes where you've only got one plan. Well, Moyes at least had a second plan where we would throw in Fellaini as well afterwards and say, like, that's my plan B. This bra does
At least
not
it's a
even
plan.
have plan B.
At least it's a plan, my guy. At this rate, at least there was a plan.
That
So
was a
I must-
plan. And look, it worked. It worked. For sometimes
some
throwing
games.
Fellaini on worked.
Yeah. But with that said, guys, I must tell you, right now, personally, I'm not enjoying watching United or any soccer for that fact. There's going to be the banter. We're going to have rival fans and supporters coming at us at United. But I would be able to accept that if we saw progress and we had someone at the helm that was going to steer us in the right direction. you've rightfully said now, Sichle, if you go on to our channels, there's no representation or form or unity from a team perspective. All you're seeing is marketing. This is the new deal that we've signed. Oh, where are we touring next? That's all that we're
Yeah,
seeing coming out of United. And that is what scares me, is that are we running this business or are we building this club to move forward?
hundred
But
percent. And as
yeah,
well, Crizzle, just to also add to you, Ineos, they said that they've got standards, bro.
Hmm.
Right now they're showing us like really they're not serious, in my opinion. And I mean, we are not on paper, we are not bad, guys. Like on paper, we really have like decent players. We shouldn't be struggling in the way that we are. Let's be for real. You know,
true.
we've got better players than Spurs,
And
and we got beaten 3-0 by Spurs. Think about it. On paper.
yeah,
Hmm.
so
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's, I
but
think, if you
football is
look at
not
it
played
this
on
way,
paper. Yeah,
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 football is
but
no,
not
no, I'm
I
played
just
on
agree with
saying.
you.
paper.
Yeah, I
The players' attitudes, the players' attitude doesn't show on paper. Right now,
Hmm.
you could assemble the Avengers on paper, and when it
Yeah,
comes to applying themselves, they can lose to under 12s that are in it to win it. And the one thing that hurts is to have Ericsson. I don't know if you guys heard this.
mm,
Ericsson
yeah,
during midweek, where he says if it's FC20 wanted it more. What the
hmm,
fuck?
yeah.
yeah,
Nah, get the
because
hell out of here. You are sitting on like 200K a week and you're going to tell me that another man wanted it more than you
Hmm.
and
yeah,
you are
so
sent to represent your club. No, man.
yeah,
I
so
have standards, guys.
mm, so Cecilia, to be honest with you, what I've seen is that, and I'm not sure if you've watched our games at home, both at FC20 as well as the Spurs game on the weekend. I
I
think
did,
that
yeah.
this man is not just only losing his dressing room, or as you mentioned early on, the coach gives an instruction. But if I'm a player, I'm rather going to do this. I've been playing soccer for my entire life, practicing to be a professional. This goes against what is naturally supposed to happen and tactically should be right. So
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons I don't think the guys are following Ten Hag in his decision. But besides him losing his players, we are now also starting to see the supporters and crowd inside of the stadium getting to
Mhm.
that stage where he's starting to lose support. So I, I genuinely can see the next two games, the window, as Trishul said, we possibly have a new coach coming in. I cannot
But I
see
think
this guy
he's
staying any longer
blinded.
than that.
I think he's blinded by his ego. The two trophies that
Yeah.
he got you, those plastic trophies that he got you, have blinded him. In that, whenever he sits there, he's like, "No, but like, guys, I've got two trophies.
Yeah, I
Look
know.
at everyone.
That's his biggest accomplishment.
What did he say? He said, only Man City is ahead when it comes to silverware." And
Mm.
Ish.
I sat there,
So,
I was like, "You dumb turd." And his arrogance has him fooled, thinking that he is rivaling
basically,
No,
City. And
he's
so
dude,
delusional.
even Arsenal right now, sure, Arsenal they're loudmouths. They don't have
mhm,
trophies, and they only have that one trophy and whatnot. But there is a style of play. Arsenal used to be soft, guys. Arsenal used to be proper
mm,
soft in the middle. If you push them just enough, they
mm,
used to like buckle under that pressure. But now there's okay, they've taken on
mm,
the dark arts, which I hate. I
yeah,
hate that part of the game. But
yeah,
they are standing up to say, yeah, we are wanting to be counted as the Liverpool that pushed City to a triple numbered points, and City won it by 1 point. But
yeah,
it's with Man United, you're using your history to say,
yeah.
yeah, we are up there. No, guys,
Mm.
that train
That's
So,
has long sailed.
Bro,
so
it's been 10 years
yeah,
in Brown.
so I couldn't
12.
agree with you more, Cecily, and that's
Yeah.
that's I think if there's a United supporter that's watching this, we've seen small progress being done by small patterns being played on the field by Ten Hag, but nothing cohesively across the entire pitch is being put together. The man has
Yeah.
had the better part of 3 years to put those small diamonds, patches of plays together on the pitch and create a cohesive structure or tactic in terms of what you're going to play. It's not forthcoming. I
So
genuinely believe it's time for Ten Hag out. And yeah, I don't think I've got more to say on the United game this week, guys. It's
I
just been
think I saw
terrible.
I saw a meme where Ten Hag is looking at his notes, and he's saying, but this used to work at Ajax. And this is just speaking on where he reassembled
Yeah.
his Ajax team. And they get to England, and England, unfortunately, it's a bit different. And no one wants the person to be
Yeah.
fired.
Yeah,
But
I know.
he's way over his head on this one.
And another
Sinclair,
thing, see, oh, sorry. Okay, you can go, Chris.
honest opinion, where United sit now and under Ollie, not winning any trophies. Did you see a difference in style of play with Ollie at least trying to get this?
Ollie had identity. Ollie was
Yeah.
played one
So
way and one way
Solskjaer
only.
had an identity. It was
Yeah,
a lot of counter attacking and give it to Bruno and hope for the best. But he had the balls to stick to it, and we won games with it. We went on a year and a half unbeaten run away from home.
Second and third.
Yeah, second and third. And look, people will have the debates about whether or not it was Ronaldo coming in, and that was a sticking point in his last season. I mean, I think even he's came out and said had they kept him, he would have gotten fourth. And there's always going to be all these if buts and maybes, but I think now it's time to get a good manager and then back him, because Solskjaer wasn't backed. He wanted Holland, he wanted Rice, he wanted Bellingham, he wanted Alvarez, he wanted Caicedo, he wanted these guys. He wasn't backed that way. The only reason we signed Ronaldo was because it was Ronaldo. If it was another striker for 20 million, they wouldn't have got him in.
Yeah,
But now we have Ineos, we have Ratcliffe, all these guys. Get in someone and back him, and
yeah,
and
nah.
and back him with players that he's not asking for. If you're building the supposed elite scouting network and this data analysis network, build it with him. Not Don't just let him build it. And we need to make some serious changes in this team. Look, I
Yeah,
love Rasmus, but we need a striker. We need
thank
someone whose job is to stand there and put the ball in the net.
you.
We
Yeah,
don't need, look, Xerxes has some good moments, but we don't need a 9.5 when Rashford can't shoot, when Garnacho is very inconsistent. We need someone to put the ball in. We've scored 3 goals this season. It's
nah, but
October.
no, Tusho, can I counter what you're saying? How
Mm.
about the goals be spread out, bro? Because if
That,
the
that
goals be
too.
spread out,
That too.
we're not necessarily reliant on an individual. We don't want a
Mhm.
situation where that individual who scores us goals when he's injured or maybe out for the season, we screwed. I'd
Mhm.
prefer us to be a well-oiled machine and goals are spread out across everyone. Everyone needs to know how to, you know what I
They
mean?
should technically
Oh,
be spread out, because
yeah, 100%.
you look at your squad. The way that Hoyland was sold as, he gives you 15 plus. Xerxes, everyone, I think he scored on Derby, and everyone said he was brilliant.
Good for
So you were
15
looking
plus.
at,
Yeah,
hmm?
He was good for 15 plus based on what he
Yep,
comes from. What? Yeah.
yep,
Mhm.
yep. So he's also good for 15 plus. Rashford
yeah,
should easily hit you with a 10. And when I say 10, I'm talking, and that's the bare minimum you ask of
hmm,
Mhm.
Rashford. Bruno should contribute 10, but I think Bruno's should also his assists should be up there.
yeah, 100%.
Ericsson, he's gonna give you what, five odd goals, but his assists are present.
Mm.
Who else? You look at who's that boy that I like? I forgot.
Ahmad,
Oh, you're talking
Ahmad.
about that one that plays on the right by you.
ish, that one.
There's Ahmad. Ahmad, I don't know whether it's his first proper season, but he should have 10 in him. But the way
And
that
he
things are
will.
going,
He will if he plays. We're back to the same point last season where
Yeah,
everybody saw that Ahmad should be playing and he
yeah.
wasn't playing. And we're back to this. I don't know what it is. Like every time he steps foot on the pitch, he's clearly one of our better players, if not our
Mm.
best player next to
100%.
Raz.
But I think
So
you are looking from a tactical point of view there, Trishul, and the
mm,
manager doesn't seem to be much interested in the tactical view. And you went and bought, did me a huge favor with that 60 million with that other player,
Ah, yeah,
Mason.
yeah, yeah. You see that one? We should
Um,
just write him
and
off as a bad date. And
He's
that one,
done. He's done, bro.
that one we need
He's
to write him off,
bad.
dog.
He is
He's
bad.
terrible.
And the thing is, right? We gave 60 million for him, and how much I paid for Palmer? Like 40.
yes, so we use that
So,
to go right ahead and
but
pocket the
you see,
20.
you guys, you have to give it up to Chelsea's. What is this?
Chelsea.
Your ownership is very good at
Oh yeah.
spotting talent,
Can
bro.
can you speak
Every
on Chelsea
single,
real quick? Because I've
yeah,
got an opinion on Chelsea as a team.
yeah.
We
Let's say,
were the joke of everyone before the season started, where I think there were pictures flying around showing the Chelsea squad.
mhm,
Where it's like 100 million players sitting on the.
Mhm.
I think there was one picture where they're showing the team photo, and it was like yeah. And then there was another picture showing the Chelsea bus, where it was a double
Yeah.
decker bus where it's packed at the bottom and packed at the top, and we're a laughing stock. And right now, I'm looking at some of the players that we've got in our bench. Those players walk into Man United. Not that I'm saying Man
yeah,
United is the
Everybody laughs
standard.
at him until they get injuries. I
Thank
can
you.
tell you
mhm,
that
Not
for
not
real.
that I'm saying that Man United is the standard, but it's always interesting to, because I think we finished just above you and you guys were
Mm.
lower. So it's always best we gauge from there. Okay,
Mhm.
where are we now? Right now, I think it was Mike who said this. Or was it Mike? I can't remember who said this. That Chelsea, actually, it was Jimmy. He said Chelsea going forward, their attack is better than
yeah,
City. Their defense is what he needs to address. But back to what I was speaking on the amount of players that we had. The manager did something which I thought was brilliant. Where he didn't sugarcoat things. He went in and he was brutal. And in him being brutal, you either do one of two things. You get respect from the players, in that he went and he said, if they don't buy into what we're trying to do here, they're not going to play. Or you get the what's this? You get the Rashfords of the world who will say, "F that! I've been here for 20 years. You're not going to do anything." Not that
Mm.
I'm saying Rashford says that, but I'm just saying you are going to get those two things. So the manager came in with an idea to say, guys, this is how we are going to play. And if we are going to play like this is my team. Um, Felix, you are fighting for a spot with Palmer. Whoever on the
listen
wings,
to
you are
that.
fighting for a spot with this guy. You are fighting. So
Jackson
you
with the
can
full,
see, and I'm not gonna
yeah,
lie, these players act like they're not phased by the next player. But I mean, come on, if you're seeing that, hey, I've got who's the player that we just got from Wolves now? You up your game, in that you kind of know that once he gets going, I'm not going to play.
yeah.
To his right. And right now, I don't want everyone to get excited that Chelsea is looking dangerous and whatnot. I'd like them. I'd like to have the conversation 15 games in. If they continue like this, I can then have an opinion that they are dangerous. But we what 5 6 games?
Mm,
But in the 5 6 games, I think anyone who's watched any of those games can tell you right now that, oh, this is how Chelsea play.
100%, dude. 100%. You see, with your team, bro, like as well, because it's Maresca's first season, there's also not a lot of pressure, that much pressure on him
Yeah.
to deliver. Let's be honest. Right now, he's pretty much got you guys excited. The brand of football, you guys have looked exceptional, especially going forward. Yo, I know going forward, you guys look phenomenal, man. Like I'm even now watching Chelsea games, bro. I
Y-
find myself tuning into your games and looking forward to them. Not because they're central, of course, in your team, but just how each and everyone plays. Even Jackson. Jackson's issue is goal scoring. However, he brings so much fluidity in your guys' attack. I
That
mean,
is
he assisted.
correct.
Yeah, and so and so I think even with the criticism that like Xerxes gets, I feel like Xerxes was brought to be kind of like Jackson in a way that he also does
Mm.
bring fluidity with his touches. But again, you guys have technical players up front, or your front four are technical guys. They can even switch flanks if they want.
Imagine this, and I don't
Yeah,
think Sancho is 100% match fit.
he's not.
And
That's
he
the
you know
thing.
and he
He's
starts,
not.
and his
Mm.
stats, I know everyone hates looking at stats because they don't paint the
Three,
full
three.
picture. He's got 3 assists, and he got the pen. I don't know why pens don't count as an assist, but anyway. So that tells you that he's getting himself in positions of threat to the opposition. And this was a player that ego
Struck.
got the better of the manager, where
Yeah.
I know for a fact that I'm struggling with goals and with assists and whatnot, and I've got this player who's sitting there. But just because I want to show him that I'm the gaffer, I'm the boss here, I'd rather loan him out to a
You
team
see.
that finished above me. And the contract terms, I don't know if you guys have seen it, like the strangest thing ever. So the contract terms are, if Chelsea finish above 14th, okay, we get Sancho for 24 million. The same Sancho you bought 3 seasons back for 80 bar. Like,
Yeah,
who comes up with these contracts?
dude. You see, and
And
as well.
we're 50-50 on his wages.
Yeah,
No, no,
yeah.
no. No, no. Y'all are paying his full wages.
Or
Is
But
it?
the,
Because
the
I was
loan
reading that
fee was like so minuscule. It was like 2 bar. And that's why y'all agreed to pay his full wages, because otherwise the loan fee would have been like 6 or 7 million.
maybe I tend to look at it in a different light with manager and player relationship. You're a manager, I think you are the parent in the room.
Hmm.
Agreed.
So you set the tone that, listen, you and I didn't see eye to eye last season. There was a whole kerfuffle about what's going on. Let's smoke the peace pipe, and we've got a new challenge on our hands. I've made mistakes. You've made mistakes. We've both acknowledged that mistakes were made. So let's move on from that. I think that's a sign of a good parent, because you summon the child to your office, and you address it and you get it over and
yeah,
done with. I think
and you also honest. Sihle, in honesty. I like Maresca. He set the bar and tone for everyone. He was like, bro, I don't rate you. You need
there's
to
no
find a club.
confusion.
No
Yeah,
confusion.
none of
Yeah,
that. And
yeah,
I think what's his name, Erik, was spiteful. And I don't know, the cynical in me is thinking that where he played him the first game, or the first 2 games, and then he just out of nowhere benched him. And in benching him, I don't know whether the plan was we're going to bench him the whole season, because no other team could afford his wages. Man City weren't going to come for him because he's way too expensive. And it was brilliant from Chelsea management to come in and say, yeah, we'll have him.
I know. Brilliant, dude. Brilliant. And as you can see, he's just fitting. He's hit the ground running.
And
Um,
I don't think he's operating at 100%.
for
I
the mere
don't think
fact that
he's match
for
fit.
the mere fact that he's hit the ground running and you still believe that he's got a gear in him, it's just testament, bro.
I think what's going to happen is that there's this one game
Aish.
that we've got. Sorry, we've got 2 games. We've got the Europe excursion, and then we've got the
Mm,
weekend game, and then we have, what is it, 2 weeks or a week and a half of international football. I think
yeah,
that's then he's going to then come right, because I don't see him being called for in the England squad. I don't want him to be called in the England squad. I don't want to worry about that, because I think once he goes there, and then they bench him the whole 2 games that they're going to be playing. So what's the use then? Instead of him being at Cobham and training hard and working on his on his
yeah,
working on his fitness. So I don't want him to be called into the England squad.
yeah.
And
I know.
yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I know. And you see what's crazy is that the England manager didn't he coach? Yeah, I think he did win the under 20 World Cup, and Sancho was also part
With
of that team as well. So it's selection headaches for him. But I don't think as well, Sihle, in that he will select him this time around.
Yeah, I
He'll
don't
just
want him to.
want him to regain that match fitness that he's pretty much lacking. And once he gets that, ish, Ish.
then we'll be speaking a
Oh,
different story. And in us speaking a different story, um,
mm,
the other thing that I'm enjoying is we've got these weird, stupid cup games during the week and whatnot. And I'm looking at my squad. I'm like, oh, okay,
you
I
see,
like this because
yeah,
it's decent. It's decent. And
bro.
I don't get the impression that these players are sulking, saying I should be playing over the weekend. They
They're
know what
not.
is needed for them to play on the weekend. I feel for my French striker,
Nkunku.
Nkunku. I feel for him. He when he was asked to step up, he delivered 3 goals, and
Yeah,
he gets the bench over the weekend. And
Mm.
unfortunately, it just means there's a better, I wouldn't say a better player, but there's a player who offers something different than what you offer. And
yeah,
it doesn't have to worry about it because the amount of games that these players play. Rodri was complaining about too many
yeah.
games and whatnot. Just look at your squad. You can then start rotating your squad. We were chatting about Arteta's decision to play Saka in the midweek cup game, that
You see,
he's gonna burn this boy out.
you
The boy
see,
is good, he's young, but he will burn him out. And
yeah,
when he
Mhm.
picks up an injury, it's going to be very unfortunate. It's going to be the exact same thing that happened with the Barcelona young boys, where
yeah.
who was it that played the whole season from the playing every game of the season,
It was
went
Pedri.
to the Olympics. Pedri, yeah, went
Yeah,
Olympics with
Pedri.
Spain, played thing, it didn't have off season, came back and continued. The
Mm.
minute you start doing that to these young kids,
You
you
see,
need to, in as much as they're young and they're energetic, you need to manage beating,
yeah.
beating them into the into. So Ateta is one injury away. Is like
That's
right
because,
now, I know for a fact that what's his name is out. Odegaard is out for the next 4 weeks.
yeah.
The next injury that's going to occur at Arsenal, there's going to be question marks.
And you see your squad. I'd say your squad and City. Actually, not even City, because City are thin. I'd say
Yeah,
you
City
guys have
this
the
past
most depth.
weekend. Yeah,
I say you guys have
I'd
the
agree with
most
you.
depth in the sense that when I say depth, I mean also in quality. I don't mean
Yeah,
just
not just numbers.
yeah. It has to
Hmm.
be like if you guys take off Palmer and you put on Felix, the drop off is not significant at all.
Mhm.
It's a slight drop off. You take off Madueke and you put on Neto. I think Neto's a better winger in my opinion. Madueke gives me Rashford vibes, dog. I did say this to you prior.
We
Yeah,
saw
Uh,
I
the
think I
weekend
think
he didn't pass.
they're addressing his selfishness. He needs
yeah,
to be, and
exactly.
his selfishness speaks to being aware of what's going on around him.
Mhm.
100%. There's a
I
question
think
for you, yeah, bro.
No, no, no,
You don't think so?
no.
do Chelsea hates Chelsea so much he even refuses to write thing. But thank you for the W. I'll take it. No,
I'll tell you why,
Hey,
Sishle, if I can have this first before you go on.
go for it, man.
It's because João Felix is a very specific position. He's a very specific player. I'll tell you which club he could have been like heading towards his potential. It's, you know how Liverpool used to play Firmino as that false nine?
Yeah,
yeah,
If he had, okay,
and
obviously
it
Felix
drops as a
wasn't
10.
gonna be
Drops.
pressing like that.
Yeah,
yeah,
But if you have wingers like Mane and Salah who are inside forwards, basically wide strikers, you could say, and then you have a Felix who can score and create, that's the kind of club and environment. At Chelsea, it's so look, it's hard to get consistent game time if your name is not Cole Palmer now.
yeah.
And even then, too, like you said, CJ Palmer did take a while to kick on the season. He had, a few inconsistent performances, but I think over the next few weeks, hopefully he
Mm.
doesn't go for the international break as well, so he can be, fit. But
He's
with
going. He's
Felix,
going.
with
For
Felix, he's
oh,
not a winger. João Felix is not a left winger. He should
Lord.
not be playing out on the left. He is uh, in this Chelsea situation. I think Cam is where he should
Yeah,
be playing, but you can't bench Palmer, and then if you play Felix at Cam and then Palmer on the right wing, you have to give Palmer that license to roam and
and
have
come
his
yeah,
inside and go there.
yeah.
My view, it's on him. It's on him. He
Yeah,
will
yeah, yeah.
get game
That's
time.
also true.
He will get game time, and he's getting the love from the Chelsea fans. I think every time he comes on, they freaking praise and sing and whatnot. And for a player that does wonders for his confidence. So the ball is in his court. It's totally up to him to go right ahead and decide what he wants to do with his future. If he shines, brilliant for us. And if he doesn't shine, then the ceiling that we thought, or the potential that we thought that he had, is not present. So it's on him, and it's that
The
simple.
talent is there. It's
It's there.
undeniable. It's
Mm,
undeniable. The
It's just the
talent
application.
is
There's
there.
that there's
Mm.
that there's that
mm,
last bit that is required that separates
yeah,
the talented from the gifted, if that makes
Mhm.
yeah.
sense.
I know, and that's one thing I like about your coach. He doesn't just throw in everyone. It's like when
Calculated.
you cook, there's those guys who cook with all the spices. Remember, I made that example. You'd be tempted. You'd be tempted to play a team that isn't balanced because of how many attackers you have. But Maresca is aware of this, even with how he uses Jackson. You know, everyone, let's say if we were all playing FIFA, would play Nkunku ahead of Jackson. We would
Yes.
literally do that. But the coach can see that there's balance when Jackson is there.
Mhm.
There's flow. As long as there's fluidity in attack, man. And I mean, with Jackson, he's useful in the sense that he's also not selfish.
Mhm.
Even the goal for Palmer, I think the first goal, he laid it off. And then there was that
Yeah,
one
but
where he was offside again and he laid it off again. It's that
Palmer made
approach
a
thing.
A switched
ma-
on Jackson is a pretty okay. I
Yeah.
won't say like world class now. I think we
chalk
can,
I
cheese,
think
but
I
yeah,
think
chalk and
I think
cheese.
yeah.
I think for the mere
He's
fact that
very good.
people underestimate him, and that's the reason why he causes problems. You
Mm.
have to take guys like Jackson seriously. He's like, there's those boxers that there's this other guy. I'm not sure if you guys watch boxing. There's this other Russian boxer, Povetkin. Povetkin is those guys, you'd knock him down 5 times, bruh. But make
You
one
pay for it.
mistake and switch off. Lights out.
Yeah.
That's
The
how
one
much
thing that
Jackson's
the
proved me
one
wrong. Jackson's proved me wrong. At the start of the season, I said,
yeah,
"What does Chelsea need? A striker," and
yeah,
he's showing up. He is
yeah.
showing up.
no, and
I
he's
know
got
he's
that
doing well.
weird pace about him where his body is, sorry, for his body weight, you never think that he's quite pacey, and
Mm.
he is quite, he's very progressive, and I think it catches out a lot of defenders, and now they're going to study him, and they're going to make sure that they get
Yeah,
someone, because West Ham were very much surprised.
they were.
West Ham was like probably the
They were.
funniest game in that
They
that
underestimated him, bro.
highlight.
Mm.
Brighton, I understand that's the Brighton way, where they just like high line and then you just woof the ball over them, and then you just like whoever runs and whatnot.
Yeah,
But West Ham, he showed, oh, okay, cool. He can carry the ball. He carried the
yeah,
ball in the wing and then cuts inside. But like two comments that were made post match by Enzo, where the journalist is like, oh, how brilliant is Cole Palmer? And then Enzo says, he was good. He could have had more.
hundred
And I was
percent.
like, oh, okay.
That's
Um,
that's that.
Palmer
That's
then
how.
Palmer then
Mm.
comes on, and then brilliant game. Four goals in the first 45. That's history in the making. And then he goes and he says, I should have scored more.
100%. That's
Do
the
you know what that
standard.
is, Cisle? Do you know what that is? That's standards.
That's
That's
standards.
standards.
Yeah,
And
That's
it's
that
zero
coming
is.
from
standards.
Yeah,
the manager, it's coming from the player. There's no
Mhm.
disconnect
yeah,
there.
100%. And you
Mhm.
know why? Maresca also coached Parma at Man City,
Mhm.
so they do have a relationship. Same thing with Sancho. They have a relationship in the past. He knows what these guys are capable of, and he's also keeping them grounded. There's
Mhm.
nothing as a
Mhm.
grounded footballer. Messi was grounded. That's the reason why he was a
Yeah.
problem.
Gold says he was grounded, that
Yeah,
guy. You're
he
right.
was
Mhm.
Yeah,
grounded,
guys.
bro. Messi was
Yeah.
grounded, dog, and that's the reason why he was such a problem, bro. So
Guys,
yeah,
I,
man, your
I,
team.
I have to
I-
excuse myself. I've got
yeah,
things to do now, but
I
I've
know
I've
that's cool.
spoken. I like where my team is. And
Mhm. Yeah,
as long as they keep this there's this magic thing that's going on with my squad, and then work on
Yeah.
defense, then I'm going to be happy.
Yeah. And then in closing, Sihle, now Arsenal beating PSG tonight.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Okay.
agree. PSG. I mean, Dembele is out. They don't. PSG
It's
are not PSG anymore. They're just some
It's
team
a
in France.
Yeah, some
Ah,
team
no,
in France
guys.
in
For me,
the
they just have
in
nice
what
midfielders, bro.
in
I'd
the
pick a
Farmers League.
midfield any day.
The
Vitinha.
McDonald's,
Woo!
Uber Eats, League One, whatever it's called now. They're
Uh,
just a random French team now.
yeah, I know, bro. I think it's gonna be an interesting game. I know Dembele is being mischievous. I did see his coach was like, "Hey, you staying behind, bro. You're not behaving on the bus." Sure, he was jumping on the seats and shit. But yeah, it's gonna be an interesting one, bro. I think PSG are gonna surprise us all. I think
I
they
know
will.
Barcola's been doing really well for them, but
Ah,
like besides
apparently
him,
though, it's nice,
mm,
man. Me. Me and my French ballers, bro.
yeah.
I like my French ballers, though. Like it is, it is. But anyway, in closing, I don't know what you guys wanted to add, maybe.
Arsenal
I
must be
think
wary. Arsenal must be wary of injury,
yeah.
Hmm.
because it's going to complicate their season.
Yeah,
Um, it pains to say, if you slip up against Porto, the game over the weekend is going to be dead wood. It's going to be his farewell game.
Yep.
And I don't want that. I want him just to give him an extension in this year contract the extension that give him 2 years. He'll come right. He will turn the corner. I don't know, maybe 2028, but yeah, he will turn the corner eventually. You know how
yeah.
a tortoise turns a corner? It turns it like this and whatnot. It takes
No,
time.
Mm.
So give him time, guys.
I think personally, I think the writing's on the wall now.
Mm.
Um, because I'll tell you why, right? These people are saying, okay, if he loses both games, then he's done. But then if he wins, does that mean that he's staying for the rest of the season, or is it constantly going to be a recycling of, okay, if he wins, he stays. If he loses, he's out. So what's the
Yeah,
point? What are you planning there? Just
and
get rid.
just
We've got a week, 2 weeks of the international break. Bring in someone. I don't know who we're going to bring in, whether it's going to be Rude that's promoted or whatever. Just
Southgate.
not Southgate or Potter.
I
Southgate.
think
But
I think it will be rude. I think it will be
I
rude,
also
bro.
think
I
Rude will
saw
be.
Casemiro. Like, there's a time where Casemiro was on the bench and him and Rude they were speaking tactics. They're like, "Hey,
Mm.
sure." Casemiro's like, "Chief, can you speak to your boy? Like, can't you see that there's a gap there and it's really, it's screwing up everything, dog." I think we need to revert back to being compact, bruh.
Yeah,
Personally, we need to
yeah.
just go back to playing a mid block. It's a safer option. It's like using a condom.
Mid
Safe.
block and let Bruno and Ahmad create. That's it.
Yeah,
That's it.
100%. Mid block, we're not going to concede a lot because right now we're on -3, dog.
Well,
Already, we're in
take
the
this clip
minus.
and send it through. Take this clip and take it to Ten Hag. These English managers,
Yeah,
they listen to us.
yeah, 100%. Just revert back to a mid block. It's a safer option, bruh. It really is. And then, yeah, we'll see what happens during the rest of the season. And I have a feeling as well, Trishel, this is a crazy point that I'm gonna make. There's gonna be a few of our youngsters who are gonna start being called up when Ten Hag leaves to the
Mm,
first team, bro.
mm.
I've seen quite a few, especially that Malay. How do you pronounce his name? I mean, the kid from Mali, man, Malian, yeah, the Malian kid.
Uh, I know who you're talking about. I know what you're
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about.
Because
Really
they're saying that,
tall. He
yeah, they're
is.
saying he's
Yeah.
impressing. He's been
Mm.
impressive.
We
So
we
I
have we have a handful, but the one that
yeah,
I'm most excited about is Shea Lacey. Shea
yeah, yeah.
Lacey, that I think his name is pronounced Ibra Gomev or something like that. He's very
Yeah,
good. But there's a few. There's a
because our
few, but
youth teams
Lacey
are
is the one.
hyping. Hey, our youth teams are winning emphatically, bro.
Mhm,
They're winning by a crazy scoreline, dog.
mhm.
So hey,
We won
we just
nine
have
0 I think it was the under 21s won 8 or 9-0 at the weekend.
listen to
They're
me.
ridiculous. They're
Yeah,
ridiculous.
Yeah,
see,
but they
so
then come in and
first
warm up the
team
bench
this
for Mason. They come to whoop the bench for Mason. Like,
Mason,
has
year.
yeah.
Amount must go down, bro. He must go down the 18s. I'm done.
I
with
said
it.
it. I said it at the start of the season.
Let's
Cut,
just
cut,
stay
cut the
there.
losses. Sell him.
Cut-
Send him to
yeah.
Leicester or Brentford for 20 bar. Cut the loss.
Yeah.
Pointless. And he's basically the English
West
Van der
Ham.
Beek. That's
West
what
Ham.
he
Yeah.
is.
Send him to West Ham.
Yeah, or West Ham. Yeah. All right, guys. No, thank you so much for availing yourselves on a Tuesday. Guys, please like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel. Help a brother out. This is Easy Sports, and we out. Peace.